And welcome back to VMworld Live. I'm John Troyer. We're here in Copenhagen, VMworld 2010, broadcasting live all 3 days of the conference. It's day 3 of the conference, Thursday, and I'm here with Scott Davis, the CTO of our end user computing unit. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here, John.
Great. Well, Scott, you are the Chief Technical Officer, the CTO of our end user computing business unit. So can you talk a little bit about our VMware's vision for end user computing?
Sure, I'd be glad to, John. So end user computing is the third tier of what we see as a new IT stack being created by all of the changing forces riling the computer industry, okay, particularly cloud computing, applications being delivered over the web, SaaS applications instead of thick client applications. If you go to meetings today, you'll see that everybody doesn't have Windows laptops anymore. Macs are all over the place, iPads are extremely popular, various flavors of smartphones, and there's new tablets coming. So there's diversity of devices for end user computing, and there's diversity of how you run applications and what types of applications and what the expectations of users are. They expect to be connected all the time, having their data from the web. And they want to be able to run their access and data from their device of choice anytime, anywhere. Okay? Those changes are all very different from thinking about just PC-based Windows applications, as has been going on in the past. So what we're doing at VMware in the end user computing division is we like to say that we are building a suite of technologies that are moving us towards provisioning users instead of provisioning devices. In the past, you'd be worrying about, IT would be worrying about controlling, installing, backing up, managing, and maintaining applications tied to one physical device.
It's all about
one PC.
My laptop or my desktop.
Right.
I had to have it with me.
Yep, exactly. Okay, but today, when we talk about moving towards provisioning users, we're talking about provisioning applications and data in a cloud-friendly manner, separated from the physical device. Okay, and that's part of where our virtualization heritage comes from. We're separating what you're trying to do in software from the physical hardware used to execute it. The net result of that is you can move between devices, you can get devices become disposable, you can recover your data and applications easily, you can deliver different kinds of applications to the endpoint device. We want to move towards a world, what we're going to be rolling out technologies around is moving towards a world where there are many sources of applications, SaaS applications, Windows applications, thick client, thin client applications, app publishing, all of those delivered to endpoints of choice from the cloud, while delivering for businesses the ability for IT to control the SLAs for important business apps. Because in this new world, IT still is responsible for security, compliance, business continuity. So this is complicated
Yeah, that
stuff.
doesn't go away.
Right, doesn't go away. So we're delivering technology to bring this consumer cloud experience, as we call it, to the business user, okay, in an enterprise-friendly way.
I like how the vision is is very evolutionary in some ways, right? Mm-hmm. I know people still dealing with NT app, NT 4.0 apps and things like that. So people have DOS apps still, and then one of the beauties of server virtualization was you could virtualize them then. Going all the way up to these ideas of end user consumption. As I talked to people about the keynote this year at VMworld, one of the things that everybody mentioned was Project Horizon. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So Project Horizon is something that we've been working on for a while, and it's really about bringing the values of our virtualization strategies to SaaS-based applications in the cloud as a service. There are many SaaS applications being deployed. Everyone's using them. I think our CEO Paul Moritz spoke about in his keynote about being surprised at how many SaaS apps have been deployed internally at VMware. Okay, so they're all over the place. But you still need to provision these applications, deliver them, secure them, manage them with enterprise-grade delivery. So Project Horizon is a portal that will enable you to deliver both SaaS applications and Windows applications through both app publishing technologies and through our thin app technology for application virtualization to endpoints of all types. The first thing it's going to deliver is a single sign-on capability using the underlying technology we acquired from Tricipher. So single sign-on means that you have all these SaaS applications, but the the automated login that occurs through one of the web standards like SAML or OAuth uses a split key approach, where there's a portion of the public-private key pair associated with the enterprise and a portion associated with each user. By using that kind of approach, you can disable the enterprise portion of the key and disable all accounts at once from IT. Okay, so bringing this, management of your SaaS applications to, centralized like we had in the Windows world. By the same token, you want to have a self-service portal. IT wants to be able to provision stuff directly for the user, and the user wants to be able to provision stuff for themselves and move it between devices. Okay, so Project Horizon is what we've been showing so far is the first phase of this vision of how we really bridge the world of Windows applications to the world of SaaS applications and to this rich plethora of client devices.
Yeah, it was a great demo. I mean, they showed desktop apps and SaaS apps and web apps all sitting there, and he clicked on the thing and he was already logged in and provisioned on different devices.
Right. Well, it very much resonates to people because, in SaaS apps, they're easy to use, easy to manage when you get a few of them. But you know what's going to happen when you have many of them. Okay.
Well, and that's been the barrier. I mean, we're the social media team. We work with a lot of services that I would like to be able to use internally, but hooking them up to our Active Directory or whatever has been, we haven't been able to do. So I'm really looking forward to that. So end user computing, it's a broad vision. Part of it includes desktop virtualization, and we'll be talking about our View product suite family later on today. But can you talk a little bit about, traditionally VMware has been viewed as a server virtualization company, and what are some of the differences between desktop and server virtualization?
Sure, John, that's a great question, and I get asked that frequently by customers, people that are first looking at client-side virtualization. And it very much depends on your perspective. At a very high level, they're actually very similar. They're both, simply put, about encapsulating and isolating all aspects of what you're trying to do in software from the underlying physical hardware that's going to run it. Okay? And many of the benefits accrue from that encapsulation and isolation. Rapid provisioning, business continuity, flexibility. These are all benefits of both technologies. Okay? However, there are also some key differences. Server workloads, server VMs, are fairly predictable. You're running one application typically within a VM, and of course the ancillary support tasks or worker threads associated with that application. They're typically stateless. They're typically well formed with regard to where the storage is and what state is being preserved and how it's accessed. We're also using virtualization typically to scale them up or scale them down, create more instances, create less instances, etc. What I just described doesn't describe desktops in the slightest. Desktops are chaotic, okay? You're running many applications, some of them ad hoc. They're stateful. The Windows registry gets written all the time, files gets updated, things are ad hoc, they're stored all over the place, okay? So when you look at, when I look at client,
everything that Windows admins have dealt with for years.
Exactly. So desktops are actually quite a bit more complex to manage than servers are for virtualization. So we've paid a lot of attention to this in VMware, and in the newest version of View 4.5, we've built a collection of technologies that we call modular desktops. And what the modular desktop technology does is, while maintaining your image of all your applications and data as a VM that can be managed as a VM, we actually have incorporated into the View console best of breed technologies to manage individual layers of the desktop VM. We have a tool called View Composer. View Composer manages the operating system within the VM. It lets you take a gold master image, boot many VMs from that one gold master image, track all the changes in what we call a redo log snapshot file, and you can patch once and inherit for all the images. So it's both a management savings as well as a storage savings. In 4.5, we've added to that tiered storage, which is the ability to take pieces of the View Composer image and put them optimally on storage. For example, put that read-only image of the boot disk onto an enterprise-grade flash drive, and now you're booting from cache all the time, and boot storms can be avoided, for example. You can also move the paging and swap file out of the base VM image, even put it on a local disk, because it's transient and you don't want to be writing that to the main image and increasing the storage usage.
And that can be a lot cheaper and maybe even a lot faster.
Exactly. So lots of benefits. We then have a middle tier layer for applications. And with applications, ThinApp is our core technology, great application virtualization technology, which separates an individual application, runs it in a capsule, if you will. It basically virtualizes every stateful API in Windows so that an application runs just as an exe. It's not installed on the endpoint in the operating system. It separates the app from other apps and separates it from the base operating system. We've added integrated management with view of that, something that was long overdue actually. So we now have entitlement of ThinApp applications per user or pool from the single view console. And of course, there's persona management technologies. We're not done with that yet, okay? We've implemented a thing called persistent disks, which is a separate user data disk that we manage to put on different storage with different SLAs in 4.5. And sometime next year, we'll be integrating the virtual profiles technology, which gives you persona virtualization and implements follow me desktops.
Great.
Okay. So all of these technologies deliver best of breed management together and really differentiate, really illustrate what's different about client virtualization from server virtualization.
Right, yeah, a lot more complicated. Well, another piece of client virtualization is the protocol. You often need a remote protocol to get back to your compute and image. Here at VMworld, the labs have been a big hit, and they're actually all running remotely with PC over IP as a protocol, back to view desktops with PC over IP. We just have a minute or so, but can you talk a little bit about how PCI over IP has been received? It's always interesting, a new protocol that was, people always had a lot of questions, but it seems to be being very well received.
Yeah, PC over IP is a great protocol. It is a new protocol, and anything new initially gets skepticism. It also takes a little bit of practice to get used to how you deploy it, how you configure, manage it, things like that. But it's running great in the field. It really delivers the best user experience for virtualized desktops while adapting to network bandwidth and network latency conditions. So you get the richest user experience relative to your network bandwidth while having the least amount of management costs. Other technologies try to deliver rich experiences, but require you to manage the endpoint. In other words, install codecs for special purposes on the endpoint, but that kind of defeats the purpose. So PC over IP is getting great reaction, and one of the things is the proof is in the pudding. We've been running PC over IP for the labs, both at VMworld US and at VMworld Europe, and we're getting a very rich user experience. Everyone's been raving about the results they've been getting. And we're actually using remote data centers in the US here from Europe. We're using both Verizon and Terramark, two of the hosting providers that we utilized from VMworld in the US. But from over here in Europe, we have more latency than we were seeing in the US. We're actually running between 120 to 140 milliseconds of latency to those data centers. And the experience people are getting with PC over IP with those levels of latency is just like having a native system. You can't even tell that you're remote. So it's great, and I encourage people here, I've been encouraging people to try it. Instead of debating technology pieces, just try it. The proof is in seeing. Seeing is believing. Well, picture's worth 1,000 words.
Well, Scott, thanks for coming by and talking to us this morning.
It was my pleasure, John. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks.